All right, so we'll go ahead and get started here with the introduction. My name is Larry Covert, everyone. I'm on ASAE's technology team, and I just wanted to welcome you to ASAE's Association Solution demos, and thanks for tuning in for this demo with ASAE Systems. If you have any questions or issues, please feel free to send me a message in the chat, and I'll address those as quickly as I possibly can. I know many of us are familiar with these virtual platforms these days, but I just want to give you a quick overview of the Zoom system here. You'll see at the bottom of your screen the control bar, and that's where you're going to find the chat and the Q&A for today's session. Any questions or comments related to the demo itself, please submit those in the Q&A tab, and the ASAE team will be monitoring those, and we'll answer them as quickly and as best they can. If you have any technical issues or conference-related questions, you can put those in the chat and select the all panelists option, and we'll be happy to assist. We do have closed captioning for this session today. You can turn that on and off as needed with the closed caption button at the bottom of the screen on the control panel. And if you'd like to continue the conversation with ASAE Systems, you can do so using the functions drop a business card or request a meeting on the booth tile in the main conference space. And finally, we do have a code of conduct for our meetings, so we like you to be mindful of that. And to comply with that code of conduct, we will not be sharing the chat transcripts with the audience after the session today. I will put a link to the code of conduct in the chat for everyone to review. But after no further ado, I'll pass it along to our friends at ASAE Systems to take it away. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks so much, and hello and welcome to the ASAE annual meeting demo day. And I don't know if we have anyone from the West Coast, but thank you especially to you because I know it's very early there. So thank you for joining us with your morning coffee. I'm Beth Power, Director of Marketing and Solutions, and with me is David Quackenbush, our Senior Technology Evangelist. This may be the start of a long day for you, and you're likely going to see a lot of overlap, especially if you're seeing AMS and CRM systems, because we all want to ensure your basic business functionality works, join, buy, register. But you've also come to see these demos because you want to move your tech beyond the basic. Maybe you're thinking digital transformation. Digital transformation is such a buzzword, and I'm all for it. But I heard someone recently say that it's important to distinguish between digitize and digital. Both are important. Creating a smooth online join process is digitizing your application process that you already have in place. But so much of what Microsoft is bringing to the table is machine learning and AI that allows you to use the data you're already collecting with behavioral data, such as when a job change may result in a change to an area of interest. We want to give you a system that automates those mundane tasks to free up your time to work on your association's mission. And we want to give you a system that takes you into the future with features you may not even have on your radar yet, like the just announced extended collaboration between dynamics and teams. We do that by challenging you to think differently. The world, and I'm sure your association, has gone through a lot of change in the last 18 months. Isn't the saying that we went through 2 years worth of tech evolution in just 2 months? So change fatigue is real. But this is also an opportunity to illustrate to your board and your team that your association can handle that change, and that this is the time to be open to reimagining your business as well as your technology, and will set you up for future success and future abilities to adapt to an ever-changing world. David's here to talk about that future success and to show you some highlights of our system. So David, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Beth. So before we get into the actual demonstration, I did want to talk about our solution, the ASAE business platform, from kind of a 10,000 foot level. As I'm sure you've already ascertained, ASAE Solution is based on a solution from Microsoft called Dynamics 365. It used to be called Dynamics CRM, Customer Relationship Management. And for years, Microsoft has had this CRM tool that allows organizations like yours to manage its, members and the sales relationships that you have and cases and so forth that they're monitoring, run reports and so forth. So what ASAE has done is we built our solution within that CRM. So we added the association components that you would expect, membership, event management, fundraising, and much, much more. But we did it within the solution. This is a nuance we really like to emphasize because it's something that's a little different between our solution and others. When I say we built it within, not on top, the nuance comes to upgrades. As Microsoft continues to grow the Dynamics 365 solution and expand its capabilities, you get those new capabilities automatically part of our solution. Microsoft comes out with 2 major upgrades a year, adding new functionality to the capabilities that our association clients have available to them. And because we built our solution within that platform, everything still continues to work. You don't have to worry about having to wait for ASAE to test and make sure it works with the latest version. It just does. So you always are on the cusp of the latest technology. You don't have to worry about upgrades. It's just the standard part of our implementation. That's the first thing I'd like you to understand from this slide, is that we're built within, not on top. And we'll talk a little bit more about some of those nuances later. But the other thing I want you to understand is many people consider this to be a platform. Well, that may be true. Maybe some people want to think of an AMS built on a CRM. That's a platform because there's an app store and stuff like that. But we consider it to be a little broader, and we take a little bigger view of what a Microsoft platform, because the Microsoft platform has a whole nother layer to it. It's got things like surveys that you can use, customer insights, LinkedIn connections, and so forth, Microsoft Office connections, Power BI, the #1 business intelligence tool available on the market for the last 6 years, is part of the ASAE solution that we deliver to you out of the box, along with other things, single sign-on and flow and teams and so forth. And we're going to talk about and really try and cement that our solution is a little broader view than what you may be used to in other conversations that you've had. All right, so let's get into things. Now, I'm going to actually show you a demonstration. I'm going to start where the rubber meets the road, in the customer portal, because this is, where you're trying to connect with your customers and make an easy solution. And I could say, hands down, obviously in my opinion, ASAE provides the best customer experience technology in the market today. And if you guys want to press a meeting with us or follow up with us, I'm happy to defend that remark. But let's talk a little bit about how we do that. First off, we do give you a nice template from which to start. So this is our generic template from which to start, and it includes all the features and functions you may want. But this is just a starting point. We're not trying to put you into our box. We're just trying to give you a tool by which to get you up and running very quickly, especially if you're coming from a legacy system that provides their own CMS. Now, the CMS that we've used here is WordPress. WordPress, again, the most popular solution in the world, representing, I think, about 70% of the world's websites. And we're using that community to actually give you some of these great tools that we're going to be showing you today. But if we look at this template of a website that we have, obviously we adjust the colors and logos to match your scheme. But again, this is just a starting point. But we've got all the things that you would expect. We've got placeholders here where you can substitute the articles that mean something to your industry. If I move around the system, I can see that we're selling memberships in the system, allowing your people to join your organization as you would expect. The standard membership is something that our technology takes care of and manages the renewals and so forth. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. We also have event management standard part of our solution, whether it be a sophisticated annual event or maybe a webinar or an integration to some of the various LMS tools to which Altai is integrated historically for our association customers. But again, we've got donations built into the solution, e-commerce shops and so forth, membership directories, standard part of our solution. You can search your membership directory, whether it be a trade list or a contact list. You define what parameters you want to allow your members to search. You define whether or not you want to allow anyone to access this member list or just your members can access this member list. But then, of course, we've got the profile information. I can go in here and I can look at invoices that I have paid historically, or maybe ones that are due that I still need to pay. Maybe it's this year's dues that I have to pay or something along those lines. Now, if I go and navigate over to my profile, there are a couple of things I'd like to point out here. First thing, you notice we get a little pop-up message. This is a feature we call just in time that lets me know, hey, about 3 months, maybe 2 months, that's up to you, before the membership is due, we start bringing these pop-up ads to come up. Now, I've got it appearing on when I access my profile. Maybe you have it set up where right if they log in, they see that message. It's up to you. Now, where you go when you click this message, maybe you go straight into invoices to pay that invoice, that renewal invoice that you sent them. Maybe you send them down a process where they pick maybe new options a la carte, what chapters to which they want to belong this coming year, what subscriptions to magazines they want to subscribe to. Maybe they want to change things around a little bit from year to year. So again, how you want to configure this is something that will work with you during our standard implementation that we provide. Now, if I look at the My Profile, a couple things I'd like to point out. This My Profile, we've got a kind of a 2-column layout with a blue header matching our color scheme. But I want to show you some other sites just to show you some of the breadth and capabilities that we have. If I look at HRCI's My Profile site, you'll see different colors. Again, our templates are just a starting point. We have a lot of flexibility in how we can code these to actually match your color schemes, your fonts, your layouts, how you want them to change their emails and so forth. But, HR, the Human Resource Certification Institute, they don't even handle memberships that much. They're focused on certifications, still the same technology being used in a broader fashion. If we look at AACOM, you'll see that their My Profile does look kind of similar to the templated site that I showed you earlier, but you'll notice that the fonts are actually different. The colors are different because we're adjusting our technology to AACOM's style sheet automatically, using their fonts, using their colors, and adopting our technology to display and match their brand that they have. Another neat thing that I like to point out, if you notice, I'm logged in as PO007. Now, AACOM actually has a few other sites that they manage. One is a higher logic community, which many people use, and we support single sign-on. In fact, we're providing Microsoft's #1, as of rated by Gartner last October, the #1 single sign-on technology on the market is included in our solution. We're the only association provider that actually gives this #1 solution as a standard part of our delivery. Why pay for the #2 when you can get the #1 for free? But if I go and access the higher logic community, give it a simple click, it launches the other web page, gives me access to higher logic, and it actually in the background logs me in as PO007 just to make it easy. I don't have to log in 2 times and so forth in order to access that community information. Now, if I go look at another one of our clients, the National Association of Attorneys Generals, you'll see that their My Profile site is set up. First off, their menu is a horizontal menu, not a vertical menu. Remember, we're not trying to put you into a box. We're trying to give you the solution you want and tailor the solution to your and your members' needs. Here, they've got a 1-column layout, and that looks great. But what's really interesting that I'd like to point out about AACOM, if I go to the event calendar that they have, not only can we see a calendar view, but we can see a list view. But if I look at their list of events, what's really most interesting to me is the fact that their list of events is tailored to the person that is logged into the site. And if you are logging in as an attorney general from, let's say, Utah, you will see a list of events prioritized to help the Utah members maintain their legal certifications, not ones for another state's certification. If you log in from Maryland, you see the Maryland events prioritized in your list of events, so you can actually see the classes that are relevant. All this happens really behind the scenes. This isn't something that the member is forced to notice. We do this behind the scenes to give them a tailored view to their site. And what's great is that this actually improves the members' participation. In fact, most of our clients have seen a 20% increase in the participations of their members in the various events that they have. In fact, I think NAG saw a 25% increase. This is something that really allows your members to see the value that your organization is providing them and helps them actually maintain the membership year over year and retain those members year over year. In fact, if we go look back at HRCI did something similar for the certifications. They examined what their members are qualified for, even though they're applying for this certification. When they go to check out, it says, hey, yes, you qualify for this certification, but do you realize you can also qualify for 2 other certifications? And by actually giving those suggestions, to actually improving their members' careers and resumes and so forth, they actually saw a banner year in 2020 compared to 2019. And in 2020, they lost their in-person event. They actually made more money by targeting and tailoring their website. And this is something that can actually continue on next year when they are going to bring in the annual event. So they're actually compounding and growing their association by pivoting and allowing the site to be tailored to the customers that they're serving in their particular industry. All right, but there's one last thing that I would like to discuss really on the portal side before we move into the back end. And this is a concept we call putting your commerce next to your content or your communities. Maybe you can put your commerce on your Higher Logic site, which I think finally did appear for me here. If you notice, there's their Higher Logic community. I'm already logged in as PO007 without anything happening. Now, on this page in particular here, we'll see an article that your organization may have written that is relevant to your industry. But next to the article, I've got some of the Alti-Commerce, an event that people, if you notice, it relates to the article. Now, with other systems, you'll see a little banner which says, hey, click here to register for a related event. But it sends them to a whole nother page. In fact, sometimes a whole nother site where they have to complete their registration. Then after they complete their registration, if they want to go back and read the article, well, good luck. You're hitting back 15 times and then trying to find your place in the article. We don't do that. We mix the commerce right in with the community. And it's as simple as a drag and drop. You drag and drop this commerce right onto your page, and people are ready to start registering for this particular event. Now, I've got an event. I'm logged in as Susan Jones, and Susan wants to register some of her co-workers for this event. Not just herself. She wants to register Harry and Kwame and Mike for this particular event and add their registrations into the cart. Now, if you notice, each one of these people, they're actually charged different amounts. Well, why is that? Well, because non-members pay more than members. Students pay less for the class. This happens, you don't have to worry about manually adjusting the price. Our system takes care of that. We're really trying to make the system as self-service as possible, allowing your people to register their coworkers at the right price, change, cancel, transfer registrations, all doing this information self-service to enable your customers to do these things, not forcing your customers to call you up on the phone to help you manage it. Now, I could register each and every one of these 3 people, and I could continue to add other people to this thing. Now, what's also interesting is as I continue to the next step, notice I'm still on my article, but we've got some good publications that go along with this class. We've got a gold, silver manual and a bronze manual, but you know what? I'm not sure which one I want to choose as Susan, so I'm going to just skip it and just go straight to the cart and maybe try and check out at this point. Or maybe I'm going to email the team and actually ask them which manual I should choose. So let's switch hats a little bit. And let's switch off of the member side and let's switch over to the staff side and see how our solution can help your team perform its day-to-day operations a little bit more effectively. And I'm going to start off with how most people start off their day. I'm going to start it off in my email program. And if I look inside of my email, such as Outlook, you'll notice I've got an email here from Paul Turner that has been tracked to Dynamics. As you may have already assumed, by tracking it in Dynamics, if I look at Paul Turner's record inside of my AMS solution, I'm going to see that email on his or her record appropriately. Now, if I look at Susan Jones, you'll see that this one is not tracked into Dynamics, but she's asking, hey, what book should I get for the webinar? Can you give me a call? I don't know about you, but this is a little pet peeve of mine. She asked me to give a call, but she doesn't give her phone number. Not only that, I don't even know what organization she works for, because you can't be expected to know every member that is participating with your organization. So you know what? I need to look her up. Well, fortunately, I'm going to say, hey, launch into Dynamics, see if you can find Susan Jones in the system, and give me some more information to go on. Well, that's exactly what the connection between Outlook and Dynamics does for me. It looks up her email, finds out that she is working for Lambda Partners. Okay, that's who she worked for. Looks like she's participating. She's engaged on a gold level. And there's her phone number. I can give it a click. It will actually launch Teams or launch your own phone system that you may have and allow you to call her directly from this email if need be. Just again, trying to make it simple for you to actually do the tasks that you do on a daily basis. I can see that I'm talking to her about sponsorships, and she's had different calls and she's transfer registration. I can see certain things that I'm doing with her over time. Now, what's great about this is now I can take the next step. Let's say I want to actually look at this record in the full view. Well, I can say, just go and view this in Dynamics. The system launches Dynamics for me. Notice I'm not having to log in again. It's the same system. Once I've logged into Outlook, I'm logged into Dynamics, making it easy for me to move around the system without remembering 15 different passwords. I can do it with just one because it's all connected. And what's great about that connection, by the way, nobody has to install a plugin. It just works. It works almost like magic. So you can actually do this and make your lives a little bit easier. Now, if you notice where I've landed here, this is something that our customers have requested from us, historically. And this is a report that we've built into our interface. In fact, it is a Power BI report. #1 business intelligence tool for the last 6 years by Gartner, embedded into our interface. And when I land on Susan Jones, this tool, which I admit could be overwhelming at first, there's a lot of data here, but guess what? You can pull little pieces of this out. You don't have to use the whole report. We set up all this information, then we tailor it during the implementation to make it relevant to you. But from this report, I can actually see information to help me get to know Susan Jones. I can see that, wow, she's pretty heavily engaged over this last year. She's got 26 engagement points, way above the average of 6. I can see that she's got 2 classes for which she's registered this year. She's got 2 CEUs, doing much better than 2019 and 2018. But hey, Susan, do you realize you still need 1 more CEU this year to maintain your credentials? Would you like me to help you with that? So you can actually glean certain information. Hey, did you realize you let your Delaware chapter membership expire? Oh yeah, I did, because I joined the Maryland chapter. Okay, great. So you can actually use this information to very quickly have some dialogue points with your member and actually show that you value their participation with your organization. Now, I do want to take a little step back here and kind of get you oriented to what we're seeing in the staff view of ASAE Solutions. And I'm actually going to start on the bottom left here. And if I give a click on the bottom left, you'll see that I'm in the membership area of the system. And that gives me a menu over on the left that relates to memberships and the contacts and the organizations and their membership participations that they're doing. But if you notice, I have other areas. If you are an event person, maybe you need to see the event information. If you're in the accounting department, you may be more interested in finance. If you work maybe in the foundation and you're managing the donations and so forth that your members provide, you're going to be interested in that. But depending upon who you are, when you log into the system, you may be granted or denied access to these things. Now, I'm logged in with somebody who wears many hats, and we've talked to many organizations that everybody has many hats and they should be able to access many things. But on the bigger organizations, sometimes it's more compartmentalized, and certain people should see certain things and certain people should not see certain things. So we can grant or deny that access automatically when the person logs in. That's something we'll work with you during discovery to figure out what people should and what people shouldn't be able to see within the system, and then have the system adapt dynamically. Yes, that pun was intended, so that when they access the system, they see what they should see and don't see what they shouldn't. But again, I'm accessing the membership area, so I'll see things like the dues bill renewal and managing my membership programs and so forth, as well as other things like maybe I want to see the recent records that I've accessed within the system, whether it be booths at my events or people. Maybe I'm going to pin certain favorite records. We do these things to make it very easy for you to, within one click, go right to places that you're very familiar with and that you need to continue to work on. Across the top, this blue bar, you'll see we've got a universal search. Universal search searches not only inside of the AMS system, but it searches throughout. It can be set up to search throughout the entire platform, to search for the videos that you've recorded for your members, to search LinkedIn and other aspects of the system other than just your AMS. We've got the artificial intelligence assistant helping you with the tasks that you do, making sure you don't miss appointments or miss follow-ups and so forth that you have coordinated in the system. But there are other tools in here like to manage and configure the interface so that you can get a tailored experience that you would expect. Also, you'll see a little toolbar across the top. Again, that toolbar changes dynamically depending upon whether you're looking at a list of contacts or organizations. Contacts, you obviously will see a toolbar allows you to add them to a marketing list of some type. So, but if you're looking at a list of events, you're not going to see the marketing list tool appear for you. Now, when we look at the record, in this case, Susan Jones's record, there's a lot of information, a lot of different tabs of information with which I can access. I am not going to bore you with going over each and every one of those fields today, but it is trying to give you more details other than just this report on a person's invoices, their donation history, maybe what events they've registered, for which they've registered. And of course, what's most important to a lot of people is their membership history, not just what they are currently a member, but what they've done in the past, how they've canceled, how they've terminated their membership. So you can see a detailed history and run reports showing going back years on how they have or haven't participated with your organization. Now, demographics, you can add as much demographics into the system as you would like. They don't have to be listed alphabetically. They don't have to be in a certain order. You can configure these demographics however you want, and it's something that will work with you from the get-go to make sure we at least have your initial demographics that you want in the system from day one, but still allowing you to grow the system and add new demographics as your business operations change in the future. Well, let me switch over to the summary tab. And one thing in particular I'd like to show you is the Impersonate feature, because as you recall, Susan Jones wasn't sure which book to buy to go along with those classes that she's registering her coworkers for. And so here we can actually facilitate making it easy for you to help that particular person, Susan Jones, by using this Impersonate feature. Now, the Impersonate feature will send you to a miniature version of the portal, something we've designed to be as user-friendly as possible so that it's not just restricted to your members. Your staff can use similar tools that we're providing. Now, you're not going to see necessarily all the colors that you saw on our web portal, because this is an admin portal, but you will see some additional tools that may not be available in your portal. So in my case, I'm going to help Susan Jones. I'm impersonating her, and she wants to buy a book of some type. So I'm going to actually look at the books that are available. In this case, I think she should buy the bronze book. So I'm going to select the bronze book, and notice it comes up at $25. And here's one thing that you will not see on the member portal that only appears on the Impersonate admin portal is the ability to override the price. Remember, I'm doing this as a staff member, and I'm going to give Susan a discount of $20 when she registers for that, those people for that class. I'll add that to the cart. And hey, what's interesting here now is I got the manual added, but do you see the same people that Susan is actually registering on her site, on her machine, at her office? I've just added something into her cart because we actually provide one cart technology. So whether you're registering for a class on your Higher Logic site, registering for a class on your site, on your portal, it's all the same cart, and it can all be easily added together. In fact, at this point, I could tell Susan, hey, go to your portal, refresh your page, and lo and behold, there's the training manual for her. And she can say, all right, I want 3 copies for my 3 coworkers, and I can continue the checkout very easily, just as you would hope something can be done easily in the system. All right, so just to reemphasize some things that I'm hoping you will remember about our portal, about our back office, is the fact that it dynamically adjusts to your staff. So it's not a fixed solution. One size fits all. We adopt the solution to your staff to help them perform their day-to-day activities. We're giving you a complete 360-degree view of your member, not just using AMS information, by the way. We actually pull in information from other systems like Higher Logic, how they're participating in that. Maybe Google Analytics on how things are going on your website. Maybe MailChimp emails and so forth. We can bring all that information into our database and actually relate it to your customer, in addition to, obviously, the AMS specific information we're providing. And lastly is we allow you to impersonate your members, giving your staff the same experience we're trying to give them on the member portal. But let's talk about the broader platform. Now, one of the things in the broader platform is the Teams integration. I'm sure others will talk about how I can collaborate with Susan Jones and send her a Teams message, because everybody's using Teams now and I want to chat with Susan. And that's great, but Altai tries to take things a few steps further with our portal solution, not just sending text messages, but allowing communities of people to collaborate with one another. Those 4 people, Kwame and let's see, Harry and Mike, as soon as they join this drinking water program, they're going to be given access to the team that we created for that class. So we create the team automatically. As people register, we add them to the team. This is free guest account, so they don't have to pay anything extra for it, neither do you, to actually work on this team, collaborate, ask questions, post questions to the instructors. Hey, are we going to cover this topic in the class? Hey, what did you mean by this? And so forth. Allow them to actually establish a community, allow them to talk with one another, talk to other people that were in the class within Teams. But it goes further than that. In Teams, you can actually store the handouts for the class and other follow-up assignments potentially that they may want to pursue after they've taken the class. Maybe after they've taken the class, they want to watch a recording of the class. The system actually transcribes the text from the dialogue from that information, making it searchable so you can actually search for a specific part of the class and go directly to that part of the recording for you. Again, just making things easier. And then another part of the platform is in fact the survey tool that I was mentioning earlier in the presentation. You can make that part of the teams, and yes, you can even email, believe it or not, these surveys to the people that attended the class, but you can make it part of the team if you wanted to. But all these are just standard parts of the platform that Altai provides to our members to make your lives easier and not have you force you to go back to your board, ask for more money because you want to start doing surveys with a Survey Monkey. Well, guess what? We've got it already built into the solution, ready to go. Now, the last thing I wanted to talk about today as part of the platform is really, how we integrate to other components of the platform, such as reporting. Now, we do have dashboards in the system and myriad hundreds of dashboards available to you that you can actually use. Each dashboard can be directed to a specific person's role, again, trying to help them with their day-to-day activities, whether it's monitoring the counts or the revenue for the events that you're doing or the people that have registered. Makes it very easy to do. And each one of these dashboards allows you to explore the details within those dashboards. So I can say that I want to view these registration counts, and I can access that system appropriately, and it allows me to see those registrations in the system. Now, what's also interesting, and I'll show you here in a moment, is I can click on each one of these registrations on the left and actually see that I've got 10 people registered for this particular event. And that's great. But what often we get asked is, you know what? I have Larry teaching this class for me next week, and Larry doesn't work for my organization. He's just been brought in to teach this particular class. So I want him to actually see all these registrants, but Larry doesn't work for me, so he doesn't have access to this list inside of the system. So in my case, I want to actually export this information out to Excel, maybe send him a list. Now, many systems allow you to export a static worksheet, and the static worksheet sends out the list and it's great. But tomorrow, when 3 more people register for the class, that list is outdated. Unless you use a dynamic worksheet. And if you export this list dynamically, it actually will maintain a link back to our database and allow Larry to see the new people that have actually registered for the class. Now, I've actually exported this file out last week, or actually a couple of weeks ago on the 26th of July. You'll see that I actually had 8 people in this export that I did last week. And I actually went in and I created a nice little report here showing that there are 8 people registered. I even put in a pivot table based on that information in my system. And what's great, and you're not going to see this from other vendors, not even other Microsoft-based systems, you're never going to see them click the refresh tool and actually have it go out to the system, update it to the 10 people that registered. You notice I only got I have to manually refresh the pivot table. I've got 1 person coming from Pennsylvania, but if I refresh it, now I've got 2. So even the pivot tables can refresh with the latest information that we pull from our system. This gives you a whole new breadth of tools that your team can use to actually create the reports that they want. Most people are familiar with Excel. We're not going to force them to necessarily learn the Altai reporting tools. Yes, there are reporting tools as part of our platform, but most people already know Excel and pivot tables. Well, we can use that and tie it back to the information inside of our system for you. But as I mentioned earlier, Power BI is also a standard part of our offering. We offer a myriad of reporting tools built on Power BI to help you do your tools or help you do your tasks. In this case, we've got a report showing how people have engaged, not just with AMS data. In fact, this data is being pulled from Higher Logic. And we can see, and whether it be Higher Logic, Breezio, Teams, BuddyPress, we can bring this external information into the system and report on it. And maybe I want to have the AI tool explain why things have gone down. And oh yeah, the reason why it's gone, participation is decreased on higher lives is because Mark McCarthy stopped posting. Well, that's good actionable information that the AI tool gave me. I can give Mark a call and say, hey, Mark, is there a reason you're stopped posting? Well, I've been on vacation. Okay, great. Are you having trouble accessing the system? Yeah, I've been having trouble since I came back. I've forgotten the password. Well, you can help them out with that and actually continue improving the relationship with your members. But there are other tools that we have in Power BI, like the ability to subscribe to emails. And frankly, a lot of the executives that we know don't want to go into Dynamics to access their reports. And that's fine. Great. So you can have some member of your team send that person an email, like I'm going to send something to Larry at ASAE, so that he gets this report every Monday at 6 a.m. When he opens up and starts his day, he'll see that email and can access that information. Or maybe you want to send that email when your memberships reach a certain threshold. When I reach 450 members, then email Larry and let him know that we've hit this goal that we wanted to achieve. And whether it be membership or events, all this information is managed by the system and is a standard part of the solution that Altai delivers to its members. Now, I know what you're kind of thinking at this point is, wow, this is a lot of information. How do I get this delivered to me? Well, I'm going to turn it back over to Beth and let her talk a little bit about that to you guys. Beth?
Thanks, David. So we've clearly only scratched the surface by showing you a few highlights of an association system built within a larger Microsoft Dynamics platform. But we know that the type of software implemented can have less of an impact on the success of an implementation than the people you're working with. We're confident in our software and confident in our process. Our process, our ease at integrating within the Microsoft 365 universe, and the ability to look ahead for you is what we're bringing to the table to make sure you succeed. This slide illustrates our phased implementation. We're eager to talk to you about this and more throughout the conference and by setting up follow-up conversations to walk through the system to illustrate how it can work for your distinct needs. I would like to highlight the first step, discovery. Discovery is not always just about gathering feature requirements, but scope, what gets automated, what gets prioritized. We can talk with you about what we can do and what you may want to take on either during the implementation or as an ongoing evolution of the product. It's also a good time to revisit those processes that you may want to reimagine that we talked about at the beginning. We're here to be your partner in that. And if you're looking for a streamlined implementation, great, we've got Altai Performance with a turnkey implementation for you. That's why, as we close, I really hope that you take away these 4 points about Altai and how we understand associations. 1, we've got the out-of-box functionality you need. You just saw David show a taste of the functionality, but we've got certifications, fundraising, and so much more of what your association needs. Altai is built within a low-code, no-code environment. What does that mean? And how does it help you? So Gartner estimates that 65% of all application development will be done using low code by 2024. It basically means development can be done through simple formulas and a drag and drop interface instead of traditional programming. This expands who can leverage the breadth of functionality that Microsoft and Altai provides. And that functionality is all about configuration. That's the value of getting away from costly customizations. It gives you more opportunity to try new things, to automate, to adapt on the fly. It's the future of software development, and we're your partner in it to make the Altai system your system. Configuration allows the system to work the way you need to without taking you off on an upgrade path with expensive customizations. And I mean, that's whether it's your team or we build the CRM for you, we want you to give you the CRM for today and tomorrow. And to that end, Altai is an extension of your staff. As we close here, Reggie Henry likes to say that he treats his vendors as an extension of his staff. We love that because that's how we feel about you. And we're committed to ensuring your implementation runs smoothly and we all succeed. So we are at 8:40 or 9:45 Eastern. Thank you so much for your time. We are around the conference. Please fill out the form so that we can go ahead and have follow-up conversations to show you more about our features. Thank you so much for your time.